So I've said I've been a big advocate of this, and I've said many times, like, I think that what they need to do is they need to make mega servers for New World. I think servers are an antiquated idea that only existed back in the day because people had no better tools or resources to deal with them other than that. There's no reason for this. However, somebody made a video saying how there is a reason, and this section of his video is called Asmongold. So let's see what he has to say about what I had to say about what other people had said about New World. All right, here we go. Servers, and they need to just make the population cap larger. True. I think it's a bad decision to add more servers. It sounds good that they're adding more servers because more people are playing the game. Yeah. Like, this is a great problem to have, but this is a bad way to solve it. I agree. They did. It was at 2,000 and now it's at 2,200. I want it to go from 2,000 to 20,000. I'm glad that they're adding in the new servers. And I'm glad that it's like, I'm not glad they're adding new servers. I'm glad the problem is existing for them to add in new servers. True. This is good, but adding in new servers I think is silly. Okay, here we go.
New World server population cap has been a hot topic ever since the beginning of the game. When it launched with only a 2,000 player cap on each server, a lot of players coming from other MMOs like Elder Scrolls Online, Guild Wars 2 and RuneScape were shocked that a game which released in 2021 did not have mega servers, and even worse, had such a low population limit per server. By the end of the first birthday of the game, AGS increased the server caps twice by 250 each time. By the time of the second increase, the opinion on high server caps had reached its most polarizing stage for the community. While a lot of players were still advocating for a much higher server population, a new faction had entered the discussion asking for the complete opposite. For most veteran players, a higher server population is a surefire way to get rid of any chance you might have had to gather any materials in the open world.
So you want them to not have more people on a server because the spawn rate for resources is too low? So you just... What the fuck? What the fuck? So that's how you fix it? It's not add more resources. It's not put them in different places. It's not increase the spawn rate. It's make the server smaller? But bro, you want that play on a private server? What the hell are you thinking? Like, god damn, that's the dumbest fucking thing. Who the fuck thought that?
Given the nature of the game, mega servers, or even just a higher population, would severely limit a lot of gameplay starting from gathering to territory wars.
Yeah.
This makes it sound like New World is bound to have low population servers and hence it's doomed to fail. With the current game mechanics, this is actually true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's really doomed to fail because people can't get as many resources. Like, you could maybe make that argument, but that's not the only way you can get gear in the game. So, like, would it just be a recalculation of the value of those resources? I don't know. It's hard to say. But one way or another, I do think that they need to increase the cap of those mobs. Yeah, of course. Here we go.
But it doesn't have to be. New World is barely 1 year old, and it's at the point now where it can revamp a lot of its current mechanics and not lose any players. In fact, it can gain a lot more. So let's take a look at what systems in New World are quote-unquote blocking the game's path into becoming a mega server-centered game, and what the developers might do to start steering the game into a more actual MMO instead of just an MO.
I feel like New World is already it's an MMO. I think New World is more of an MMO than a lot of other games. You spend more time interacting and playing and talking with other people in New World than I feel you do in a lot of other MMOs already.
The first and most obvious problem with having New World have a very high population server is the resource gathering system. Currently, the system works in a way that's first come, first served.
Yeah.
Whenever you get a gathering node, you can take it, but no one else can until the respawn timer runs out.
You can't have everybody mine the same node. If you did that, you'd have people exploit the fucking shit out of that. Now, you could put a cap on that and say, like, only 3 people or 2 people can mine a node within, like, 2 minutes of each other. Like, that, maybe that could work. But other than that, I feel like it's not really going to happen. Exploit how? Because you go with like a group of 3 people and you all mine the same thing every time. So there's like mining parties that run around, like retail WoW, how people would do with like multi-boxing. So like it would be hard to hard for that to work. You just need to add more nodes. Like it's not hard. Just add more fucking nodes, increase the spawn rate. Like why is this even a conversation?
Depending on the size of the node, can be 10 minutes or 25 minutes.
Yeah, it takes a while.
The respawn timers right now are way too long, even for a server with 2,500 players.
Very true.
As proven the month
this
before.
This is especially true with ironwood trees. Like, they're hard to get.
The Brimstone Sands update, when a single unit of lodestone used to cost 5 gold. If you look at New World Guide, you will see that you need 38 lodestone for a single obsidian voidstone. The reason behind the ridiculous price is the amount of actual nodes in the open world, 321 total, only 30 of which are large nodes. The respawn timer, which we stated was 10 to 25 minutes, and a full server of 2,500 people online at the same time, looking for the same exact resources.
Lodestone went up in price like crazy because like there was only like you could farm a little bit of it over here, a little bit of it over here. It was hard as fuck to find lodestone. And I guess always looking only for large, so there's none down there in Brightwood. So yeah, it was brutal, man. Absolutely fucking brutal. And like, yeah, it's like that's a problem in itself, man.
This is a huge issue for New World since the whole system was designed to incentivize open world PvP ever since the alpha days when the game was a survival, full loot PvP game. We'll be repeating this sentence a lot throughout the video.
True.
The current system is an artifact of those days. But if we look at other MMOs, this problem has long been fixed. In RuneScape, the respawn timer changes depending on the amount of players online at the same time and in the same world. In Elder Scrolls Online, gathering nodes follow a similar design pattern. The respawn timer doesn't just change like in RuneScape, but a new node appears every time a player in the proximity picks and gathers a similar resource.
Okay, that's interesting.
Now let's put New World in the headspace of a single server MMO like the games mentioned above.
Right.
A similar system in New World would fix a lot of current problems, incentivize PvP, and allow for a higher population server all in one.
I agree with that. Yes.
Do you want to level up your gathering and refining professions?
Yes.
Are you looking to farm to craft your dailies?
Yes.
Do you want to sell some resources?
No.
Or are you just looking to chill out for a bit while watching Asmongold on your second monitor?
Yes.
While the actual yield you get from each node needs to be balanced, every player needs to have the option of just going and farming resources whenever they feel like it. PvP conflict right now is severely limited to capturing forts and doing faction missions to gain influence over a territory. These are some of the ways AGS implemented to try and incentivize open world PvP, while at the same time being a prerequisite for declaring wars. While both of those...
The war system, the faction conflict system is all fucking relic. It's stupid, it doesn't work very well, and I think that honestly New World should find a better way to do it. I think that the different areas should be controlled by companies and not factions. I think that would allow more turnover. That would allow more people to, control it. I think that's what they should do. They should make it owned by a company, because like a company does own it. It's just a company that's part of a faction. I don't see the faction stuff being useful at all. It's like even WoW got rid of that shit.
Systems are considered a chore by the vast majority of players and have been actively disliked and labeled as boring by the PvPers. Introducing Megaservers would be their breaking point and would render them obsolete. Channel hopping...
Would that happen? Like, because I thought that... Wouldn't it make it to where there would be more people at these control points because all the servers would be put together? Or can somebody correct me? Like, that's what it sounds like to me. But, like, would that happen or not? Like, bigger companies would be unstoppable, but there are no bigger companies. You just have 100 people in a company. That's it. AGS restricted gold bags from 25G and axed town taxes from 25% to 5% to avoid too much gold in game. What the fuck? Yeah, I don't know about that. No one goes to forts because they're just too far away from travel nodes. Yeah, it's like you can't You can't put stuff in the game and then make people like take an L to play it. Like, it's just they're not going to want to do that.
In the game would make it impossible for PvP in the open world, since everyone who is feeling threatened would simply channel hop until the threat would give up.
Well, I feel like that's predicated on the assumption that you would have channels. I never said that you would. But I don't know if you need channels.
But there's a few things that the game currently has or are being added that can absolutely change the limitations of the current territory pushing system.
Okay.
AGS opted out of the always-on PvP flag it had during the alpha version of the game, and instead moved into a player choice one. Whenever a player wants to PvP, they can simply toggle it on and venture out in the open world to try and find someone like-minded to fight. The flagging system would feel right at home in a mega server divided into channels.
Very true.
Currently, very few players toggle their PvP on, and if you're looking for an actual fight while farming, questing, or simply exploring, you'll find yourself out of luck very quickly. But if channels were to become a thing, switching PvP on and off would completely change the way you're playing outside of instances. It would be easy to implement a system where players who opt in on PvP are automatically moved and locked in a separate channel.
This is what they do with War Mode in Retail WoW, and it works really well. Yeah, this is literally War Mode. This is good.
All the other players who are currently trying to do the same thing.
I'm a big fan of this.
It would make it possible for New World players to actually inhabit the same space as other players with PvP on. And it would mean that every other player you see on your way is potentially an ally or an enemy.
Yeah.
And nothing in between. Another problem the game would run into would be pushing territory influence to declare war and territory ownership. The way it currently works is that a company and/or a faction who wants to declare war on a territory needs to run faction PvP missions back and forth until the influence is up to 100%, at which point every company who pushed at least 10% gets to declare. In the context of megaservers, this opens a whole can of worms, so let's dive straight into it. As we said, currently
I feel like that is the whole thing about that is like all... Like, the wars are... I've never heard anything good about the wars. The only thing I ever hear about the wars is that people don't get invited because they're not in the clique. You get invited, it's laggy, or it's unbalanced, or there's something wrong about it. Like, I've never heard a good thing about the wars in New World. Like, I don't see this as being, like, a system that's, like, worth preserving, or a system that's, like, worth, like, maybe fucking it up a little bit for, you know, something that's a lot better for everybody else.
Company wants to declare war,
yeah,
they need to be responsible for at least 10% of the total push in that territory at the moment it reaches 100%. It's easy to get the 10% when you and 40 or 99 of your friends in the same company are pushing it with little to no competition. It gets even easier when the opposing faction's numbers are also limited to your own or less.
Okay.
But what happens when there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people trying to push the territories at the same time? At the moment of writing the script for this video, there are 55,000 players in the EU servers.
That's a lot.
Pushing a territory with such a high number of players would be a catastrophe. Your company would never be able to declare, and even if AGS lowered the criteria for being able to do so, the RNG between all the pushing companies would leave people bitter with each other and the game. It would turn wars from being a limited content for a very low percentage of players into content impossible to get into.
I feel like that's like one negative into another negative, right? I mean, like, yeah, obviously they would, like 100% they would have to redesign the way wars and faction territory ownership would work if they did a mega server. But I feel like that's like such comparatively a small problem versus people that log on and they literally can't play with anyone. I feel like that's way, way worse.
Thankfully, AGS is adding a few things that might provide a great opportunity to make influence more entertaining, and on top of all, a lot more balanced.
All right, so I think we have an update to the roadmap coming up, so I think we're going to talk about that a little bit. Can we give predictions as to what's coming up on the roadmap before you jump in, or is that something we don't want to do?
You can absolutely do that, but first let me just address one topic real quickly, which is leaderboards. On the current roadmap that's announced, leaderboards were promised, and we missed that date. I just want to let everyone know we are working on leaderboards. It was a combination of some priority shifts and some problems we ran into creating it. It's still being actively worked on, and when it's ready, we're going to release it.
Okay, that's fine.
Right now on the PTR, AGS has rolled out leaderboards. And a while ago, they introduced Instance Wars, where players fighting a war are no longer teleported in the open world fort, but in a completely separate server.
Probably a good idea. Because I'm assuming that the instanced wars have better netcode. Like, they're less laggy. Am I right about that? Let me see. Way better? Yeah. I mean, like, big fucking surprise there.
These two combined would make an amazing difference in the game when regarding territory control. So let's think about this. With Brimstone Sands, there are now a total of 12 controllable towns.
Yeah.
With Instance Wars, companies would be able to sign up for what we're gonna call a ranked war against a random company of other factions, which all—
Here's what I would do. I would make a company, go from having 100 people in a company to 1,000. Rebalance everything around, doing it with like 10 times as many people, and just say, there you go, have fucking fun, and just see what happens. I think that'd be cool. Mega companies, yeah, just like in real life. You could have like BlackRock, Walmart, shit like that, yeah. Like, we don't need these mom and pop 100 player companies. That shit sucks.
Also signed
Vanguard, Amazon,
The winning company gets allotted a certain amount of points for each win, flag captured, and time remaining in the war. At the end of a 3-day period, the company with the most points in that territory would take control of it, as long as they are not the current owning faction.
Yeah.
This would fix a long list of issues and content gating that the game suffers from right now, like a single company owns multiple, if not all, the territories. If a company wants to attack or defend a territory—
The reason why a single company owns all the territories is because they're on one server and there's nobody else on the server to compete with them. Like, a mega server would fix that problem. Like, it would fix, because the thing is, you become a big fish in a small pond. So you take over everything else because you have an advantage over other people. That advantage compounds, and then you're getting, like 1.8 million gold from Windsward every week, and then you're buying BIS gear for everybody in your group, and then everybody in the other groups is like not only at a disadvantage because they're not as good as you, or like maybe you're on the same level, but now they also have a gear advantage as well.
They would need the most wins they can possibly get in a specific town. This leaves little time to steamroll on other towns. Mercenary wars would not be very viable because of the amount of ranked wars needed to be fought to gather points, which means paying for them would bleed the company's gold reserves. Content gating wouldn't be an issue any longer. Any company with a 50-member roster would be able to participate and engage in a war. Winning or losing wouldn't matter much as long as they get the experience for future wars. Territory influence pushes require a long time and a lot of active members, which most casual companies don't have most of the time.
Yeah.
In the case of Megaservers, where hundreds of companies are active, everyone would get a chance to fight wars and make an impact, while making territory control not be a complete chaos fest.
Wait, I feel like this means Megaservers are like this. This is like an argument of like why it's good. Like, wait a second. Yeah, this sounds good to me. Yeah, I like this. What the hell?
While all of the above might sound fine and dandy, there's one last change that would need to happen for this all to work.
Okay, what is it?
Town profits. Companies owning a town are getting a certain percentage of the total shared pool of tax profit, depending on the town's importance.
Very true.
This may be fine in the current server architecture, but once the server population cap is quote-unquote removed, those profits would need to be changed. Lately, AGS has been removing everything that made being in a faction meaningful because, let's be honest here, they were a huge burden on the quality of life aspect of the game.
Yeah, the game sucked.
What would need to happen, unless factions are entirely removed, which doesn't seem to be the case, is that if a company owns a territory, it would get a chunk of the profit directly, while the rest of it would be shared with players from their faction on a daily basis.
I like that. That's a smart idea. That's actually a really good idea. That is a really, really good idea. Damn, that's a good one. I like that.
Players would need to check in on the town hall to collect these tax returns, else every player who has ever quit would be basically deleting a huge chunk of coin on the server.
Yeah.
New World Megaservers are an impossible dream for a lot of players, and it will remain so unless AGS decides to get on with the times and modernize their game systems and server architecture. The main problem with this switch is the artifacts which yet remain in the game despite the radical shift in genres from alpha and even from its launch day. New World Megaservers are an impossible dream, but only right now and only if AGS refuses to evolve the game systems that right now are only there to drag the game down, despite the beauty and potential that it has.
True. So fucking true. I could not have said it better.
If you like this video, please like, comment and subscribe. My previous video blew up out of nowhere and that made me extremely happy. It's an amazing feeling having people like your content, and it's exactly the drive I needed to keep doing more videos. Please make sure to visit New World Guide, or nw.guide for short. It's an amazing website and it's rapidly becoming my go-to website for almost everything New World related. You will always find my videos in text form there. Until the next video, and thank you all again.
This is a great video. I like this video a lot. I feel like he was right to the point, talked about some of the problems. I think there's also going to be other issues the game would have too.
Yep. I'm right at front.
Like 100%. It's going to have other issues. But I think those other issues, like the advantages of the game, are just so much higher if there are mega servers than the potential problems. I think they are just so much higher. Like, I feel like mega servers for New World would just make the game, it would give it so much life. But one thing is that there are too few points of interest in New World right now, and because there are too few points of interest, they would just become massively overcrowded to the point to where they were unplayable if they didn't have sharding or phasing or something like that. So I don't know exactly how they'd solve that. I'm not sure. Probably just make more points of interest. Like back in the day, for example, there was only really Mertgard that you would farm, and then they increased the item level everywhere else to make it higher so it could compete with Mertgard, because the gear there was just better, and so everybody would just stick around in there and kill rares there, and that was it. Like the whole player base was there. So like have more things in the game to spread out the player base, and also have more content in the game to spread out the player base. I feel like New World mega servers, like 1 year from now, is an obvious choice. Because by that time, they'll probably have like 1-2 more zones in the game. There'll be a lot more shit going on, and there's going to be more places for players to be. So yeah, I feel like this is absolutely possible, man. Abso-fucking-lutely. Give me 1 sec. I'll link you guys this video. This is great. Deuce X Persona only has 500 subscribers. What a fucking video, man. I would expect a video like this from somebody that has like 50,000 or fucking like 500, like 50, yeah, 500,000. Like, this is a good video. This is really, really well put together. I like it a lot. I'm here, bro. Yo, thank you so much for making this. This is good, man. Yeah, I love this video. I think it's so well put together. I think the points you bring up are very good points, and I hope AGS understands that like they have a great game. They have a player base that loves the fucking game. You can see that just with the charts, right? Well, not this one, but with the charts here, like a lot of people are playing it, a lot of people like it, etc. So just keep making the game better, and that's all it's going to take. I hope that's what happens. I bought this game, never played it yet. Yo, I mentioned this earlier today. My New World server is now open to the public. It was not open to the public, now it is. So if you want to join my Discord, they will get you all the information about it. Let me go over and I'm going to make sure that I get an invite for you guys. I'm just going to link the Discord. And just join the Discord. It's the community for everybody on the server. So there you go. If you guys want to join, we had like probably 200-300 people play last night, joined the server, so it's gonna take quite a while for us to get to 2,000, but whenever we do, we're gonna fucking be there. I'm excited. Yeah, can I server transfer my character? You can afterwards. No. So like after the Return to Eternum event is over, these servers are merged out into all the other servers. Like, you can transfer the character off, you can do whatever the fuck you want. So the way that it works, and like I have it on a pinned message in the general tab on that Discord, the way it works is that if you hit level 40 before the Return to Eternum event is over, I hope they extend it a bit, because I think that would give people more time to hit 40 now that they added this new thing. I'll talk to them about that. But they basically, if you hit level 40, you get a special title in the game. It's called The Returned. So it's just for this event, at least for now. And it's account-wide, so it's not just for that character you got it on. So you can get an account-wide title if you level a character to 40 on one of the Return to Eternum servers. And that's the Discord to join mine, and it's just that simple. Streamer server's dead already? Big surprise? Well, it's dead because it was invite only. If it was open to the public, it wouldn't be dead. That's just the truth.